The question comes to us actually from several people, framed a little bit differently, who listened to our second conversation in particular. When you are in the midst of a crisis or a deep challenge, what do you do to stay centered?
It isn't about doing anything. It really
How
is
come I
about
knew you were going to say that?
yeah. It really is about um, aligning yourself with how it is that you wish to feel, and finding the boundaries of what is okay with you and what is not. And whatever the genuine desire is in terms of the feeling that one wishes to arrive at, then one works backwards from there, because then that becomes real. That's what they really want, as opposed to some sort of methodology to impose upon someone that they feel a certain way. Because at the end of the day, believe it or not, all human beings do not really feel the way that, or not really want to feel the way that logic would suggest that they should want to feel. There is a lot of pleasure in drama. There's a lot of attraction and addiction to pain. So if that is the case, then what is the point of recommending the manner by which to arrive at, quote, happiness or peace, whatever it is, when secretly the person doesn't want that anyways?
Can we take it down a few notches? Let's assume the person does want it. Can you share maybe a recent example that you have experienced, or with somebody that you work with has experienced, was a very, very difficult situation, and somehow or another, not only did it make them better, but more importantly, they stayed calm through the process, just so people can get a sense of the way that you would approach something like that?
I don't really. I think it's more instructive simply to understand than it is to think of an example. The take-home point is we always gravitate towards the things that we secretly want, and we always run from the things that we secretly don't want, no matter how at odds those things may be with reason and logic. I think that's really the take-home point. It isn't about necessarily providing an example, and the person who hears the example can say, well, that's a good example, and maybe I should do the same thing. It really isn't about anybody. It's just about the person themselves. Mm-hmm. So the example is the person, him or herself, that all things that you do from a place of desire. And that has nothing to do whatsoever with what your desire should be or shouldn't be. Most things that human beings do are completely illogical. They have no basis in reason. So to approach things with straight lines is to misunderstand.
And I so appreciate that, right? Because the context that you just shared, I think, is so profound and so timely for a lot of people listen to this. So I want to leave it with this. If somebody right now who sent in this question, somebody's going through a really, really difficult time, and they happen to get you on the phone for 2 or 3 minutes, what are you likely to either ask or to say to them?
Usually it's them doing the talking, describing what the situation is. And I think the most important thing for me is not to fall into the trap of believing that the question they're asking is really the question that they want to know the answer to.
So it's the question behind the question. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, it is about elucidating the question in such a refined fashion that the question itself becomes the answer.
Can you clarify that for me? So Kapil, I'm going through a hell of a time with my team, right? And I'm about to get 3 or 4 people to fire 3 or 4 people because they're driving me crazy and they're not delivering, and I can't sleep at night. It's killing me.
Yeah. And I would say to you, I would approach that with the understanding, not necessarily me saying this to you, but I would approach that through the lens of you wanting me to be outraged by your outrage. And there's something within you that wants me to, ring the alarm bells and provide an emergent situation to your apparently, your emergency situation. And it is imperative that I don't fall for that trap, because if I jump into the quicksand with you, then we're both stuck.
But I want to feel better after my conversation with you.
So yeah, and if I fall for that and provide you the sugar high that you're looking for, that doesn't really do anything for anybody. So I'm not really interested in making you feel better. I'm only interested in the truth. Because at the end of the day, whenever the truth begins to reveal itself, whether it makes you feel bad or it makes you feel good, it's where you're eventually going to arrive anyways. So there's no point in wasting time.
And how do you lead me to that?
As you talk in a semi-hysterical fashion about the situation that you find yourself in, and you discover the background of relative dispassion, then something within your mind begins to understand and see that I'm not biting. And when I don't bite, the mind stops trying to make me bite, and therefore it becomes more serious. That is the natural evolution of such encounters.